Hello, audience. This is sort of Misfit management, but sort of not. This is to tie you guys over until we get back to the campaign. As you can tell, we just finished playing the Call of Cthulhu one shot. I would take this hat off, but I just tried and it looked terrible. So I'm going to save you guys from that and save myself from your undoubtable ridicule. So we did something we've not done before. We played a bunch of different one-shots in different systems, and I guess first things first. What's it like stepping away from D&D? We've been playing a lot of D&D, and then we didn't play D&D for the past 3 weeks. What are our thoughts?
Honestly, I kind of liked it. It was a little refreshing. I we're starting a new campaign right now, which means it's a little like, I want to be working on that.
Right.
But also it was really nice to play in new systems, and I really liked I didn't get to play Zombie Road, but I really liked both Delta Green and Call of Cthulhu. I thought they were very fun,
Yeah.
and I liked the mechanics.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I like getting to do one shots, especially in different systems. I'm finding I wish I could I know it was we're spending a month doing different things, but I think it'd be fun to spend a little more time in each system and kind of
Right.
get a better grasp on how it works. But I like trying the new systems.
Mhm.
Cool.
I totally agree. Yeah, like you said, Bigler, it was like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I have been like a peek behind the scene audience. I have been normally I take the last weekend of the month off, and I have been forgoing that so that we stockpile more episodes, because there have been times when conflicts have come up or they're coming up, and I knew I would need that. But because of that, I'm so tired. And getting a break from that and stepping into a different system was like super refreshing and exciting. And all the burnout I was starting to feel just like immediately disappeared. And
Yay.
That's good.
all of these
We love.
systems were really, really fun. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think we necessarily play Zombie Road fully with the tone intended, but
Oh no.
you know,
We don't, but
have
that's
a blast.
kind of why I love it.
We've turned it into a comedy zombie story, and it's fantastic, and I love it. And that's always super fun and ridiculous to dive into. And that system is easy. I mean, all you need is a single d6, and that's nice. Because that's the most daunting thing of stepping into a new system, is the new mechanics, and that one's pretty simple. And then, I have been listening to people's campaigns of Delta Green and Call of Cthulhu, listening and watching for a while now, and I have loved those systems, and I've always wanted to play, so I was glad I got to run those. So
Yeah.
Speaking of Zombie Road specifically, I know Bigler, you didn't play in that one. You sort of helped me a little bit the first time we did it, but what are some things that we like or dislike, or what are some specifics about that one that jump out at us?
I seem to remember, and I didn't refresh for the second round, so it's been a year. But wasn't there something where you could do one action and then choose to do other actions, kind of like
Yeah, the action economy. Is cool.
Yeah, action economy is pretty good, and you can spend endurance to get
Yes.
more actions, which
Yes,
is
that's
a
what I was
fun.
trying to
I
remember.
like this spendable resource thing.
I
We
liked
got it
luck
here with luck
yeah.
as well, and I really like that.
Yeah. Because then you can kind of choose what you feel like is the most important.
Well,
spots
and
to
if it's a
spend.
very important role for something and you fail, it doesn't mean that I
Too
know that
bad.
there have been in our D&D campaigns a number of times where we're just I think back to the Curse of Strahd roll where we had to get that damn
You were looking for
in the
the bones in
coffin
that
urn.
closet.
Yeah.
Oh.
We couldn't find them. We literally we kept rolling and we kept rolling and we kept rolling, and it was 5 rounds later we finally rolled.
It was ridiculous.
It was ridiculous.
I forgot that
I
happened.
think so. If any of y'all have run Curse of Strahd, there's
Spoilers.
Spoilers, but there's something that you have to look for in the coffin maker shop, and I think normally you find that not while combat is happening. And
Right.
we had
Yeah,
already
that did add a lot of
set off
pressure.
the combat. So there were like a bunch of vampires trying to attack you, and you're looking for this very important thing for this literally time-sensitive event. That was, yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah.
It's great.
Like,
Everything
it would have been
was
nice
fine.
to be able to spend luck and go, okay, I just succeed.
Yeah,
Effort.
I
Yeah.
like this notion, and I think Daggerheart does it potentially as well in some aspects, but I have to read more. I downloaded the quick start. We haven't run it yet. But you have some sort of agency over what happens, you know? Like, you can spend endurance or spend luck in order to make something a success, whereas in D&D, I have to try and give that to you. Like, if I think your idea is really cool, then I have to give you advantage, but still it might not happen. The power is not in your hands, and
It's still in the dice.
yeah. And in this way, you have a little bit more narrative control in some ways, which is nice. What else? Zombie Road, I guess my only thing for that is that it's a relatively new game. So like there's just not as much out there currently to go off of to like get a game together. It's very dependent on like me coming up with all this stuff, especially with this like very specific setting that we have pigeonholed ourselves into, which I wouldn't change for the world.
We did kind of do that to ourselves.
Yeah.
They said to set it in a town you're familiar with, and we did
There's
that.
so much weird Auburn shit to pull from.
There really is.
I legitimately, I want somebody to make a zombie TV show set on a campus, set on a college campus, because like, I kid you not, it writes itself.
Yeah.
Well, hey, and you know what? Matthew Mercer visited the start of our zombie plague, the Raptor Center. He got to visit. He had a great time, and he learned a lot about raptors, and that's great.
And then he rubbed it in Brennan's face.
Yeah, I texted it to Brennan.
Yeah, audience, Matthew Mercer came and visited our alma mater, and we got to go listen to him talk. And Auburn is famous for this tradition of the eagle flying at the stadium, and they keep them at the Raptor Center, and Matt went and toured the Raptor Center. Okay, let's move on and let's talk about Delta Green. Hard departure, I think, from anything we have ever run before. What do we think about that?
The modern setting is fascinating.
Right.
I will say I didn't think like once about pulling out a cell phone and calling
I know.
someone.
No, not at all.
I think we're too trained with D&D that not being a possibility.
Right.
Because that's what I was the most scared of. I was like,
but not a single
shit,
one
man,
of us
if they go to the internet, I don't know what to do about that.
Well, honestly, like, at least with the thing that we were doing, everything was happening so quickly that, like, I don't think we would have realistically just been like, let's just sit and Google until we find an answer.
Well, and legitimately, like, I have some complaints over the adventure we ran, but for the most part, it's very, like, there's not a lot of leeway there. It's pretty tight.
Right. It's a pretty linear adventure.
Yeah. Pretty linear. To the point where we're all just sitting around waiting for the one last thing you're supposed to do to happen. It's like, who's opening the hatch? Not
None
it.
of us wanted to do it.
And
no one wants to unleash the thing.
Y'all do this, not like you do this a lot.
Every time.
Like, you know the thing that you're supposed to do. You know it's gonna be scary and probably dangerous, and you're like, I'm gonna do everything within my power to not do this one thing.
I think no one just wants to be the one that pulled the trigger, for lack of a better phrase. Like,
here's the thing. I also just think of when Joe last campaign had to like confront and instead we decided to just do an eating contest the entire session.
Which we won.
By cheating.
But we won. It doesn't matter as long as you
got free
win,
crab
says
for
Ronan.
a year, and then you destroyed the town.
That was accidental.
That restaurant's probably not even there anymore.
Oh, I'm sure it's gone.
It's fine. It's fine.
I feel like Ronan would make it a priority to make sure that restaurant
so that she could get free crab.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
100%.
She's donating to the rebuilding efforts.
So Delta Green was her first foray into the percentile dice type of rolling.
Don't mind it.
I liked it more than I thought I would. I think because we don't use percentile dice a whole lot, I wasn't really sure how it was going to go.
Yeah, I remember, like, before I'd ever played or really listened to it, the thought of it intimidated me. And I also just, like, felt like, oh, you would never get what you need.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I associate it with, like, divine intervention, which
never works.
Literally never happens. You know, it's like, I'm never going to get this specific thing.
Divine intervention, you rolled that, like, only a couple times realistically throughout the campaign.
Yeah.
So of course you're never rolling what you need, but like
you have to get under your level.
Right.
Yeah.
So under 20 or under if you're a level 20.
Which is
never a level 20.
20% is not good in these games. That's not a good the odds are not in your favor.
No.
So
but
yeah.
Scale much better, and there's so much less math involved because of
that's true.
Just using the percentile die and having
there's no modifiers.
Yeah,
which I like.
Nice.
I do really like it a lot. I will say my biggest complaint with the Delta Green system, and maybe you'll agree, is the combat. It felt very limiting.
It did.
There's like a singular action, like you can move. Or you can attack, or you can try to dodge and not die.
And there was no way, like in Zombie Road, to spend your whatever it was called, agility or whatever.
There's really no spendable resources in Delta Green.
Doing those back to back, you could feel a difference there.
Yeah. Zombie Road's combat was pretty smooth. Delta Green, it's very restrictive, but in what I have listened to, so I really enjoy Glass Cannon, the Glass Cannon network, and they have like a Pathfinder campaign, but they also did a big sprawling Delta Green campaign, and I'm currently binging their Call of Cthulhu campaign. And in Delta Green, they don't really get into combat that often. It's mainly like an investigative kind of thing.
And a lot of psychological warfare.
Combat is pretty rare, because generally the things you're fighting are pretty deadly.
Right. But also, like, you're just regular people. So, like, your stats are just that of regular people. So, if you get into combat too frequently, you'd all be dead. Let's be real.
That's sort of the through line of all three of these systems, is you're just like a regular dude. Which is fun to play. I mean, like in D&D, you're gods, and so it's when you're used to having like 70 something HP or whatever, and then you suddenly have like 15. Like, it's like, it's scary. So I feel like if I wanted to run more in Delta Green, I would want to modify the way combat is run so that it doesn't feel quite so restrictive. I felt like Call of Cthulhu struck a better balance. Where, like,
I agree.
It's not as well defined, but like, it's, you know, it's like we
can move and attack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think it makes sense that, like, you can fire off multiple bullets, but if you're swinging like a melee weapon, that's really only like one action. Because bullets are quick. That makes a lot of sense to me. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about Delta Green. I will say, just now that we're sort of moving in between Delta Green and Call of Cthulhu, like, those systems are very, very similar to each other. But Delta Green is just Delta Green. To my knowledge, we're not on a new edition. Like, they've not made a different edition of the game.
Okay.
Guess what edition we are on for Call of Cthulhu?
Isn't it like 5 or 6?
7.
7.
Okay.
Yeah, so a little more than I thought. Okay.
The current edition of Call of Cthulhu is the 7th edition, and I think it shows. I think there's a good deal of polish that has happened here. That I like.
I can't decide if I like the Price is Right rules of Delta Green,
I
or
think I
if I like
don't.
the like scaling for extreme successes more.
Yeah, I think I prefer. I don't think I like the Price is Right.
I think I like this one.
I
Because
think
that's
I would
the Price is
prefer
Right
it
is
if it was
rough.
just lower. Like if it was just always lowest wins, you know?
Yeah.
The Price is Right is rough in my opinion when it comes to you might literally hit your number exactly, but if that number is a 60 and the thing you're fighting is an 80 and they hit a 78, you're gonna lose. That kind of
Yeah.
sucks. Right.
That's true.
It's tough. It's definitely tough because that would feel almost like a natural 20 doesn't
Right.
beat, you know, like it
Yeah.
feels tough to deal with.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
like this breaks it down into like the regular, hard, and extreme, and there's always like a map of like extreme beats hard beats regular, and then like if it's a tie, depending on who's the attacker or the defender, helps settle that.
I do think for combat, you've got regular, you've got hard, and you've got extreme. I do think hard should have some kind of bonus. I'm not
Something
sure what it should be, but the
like
fact that it's the exact same as a regular.
I'm not gonna lie, there's every chance that it is different. Okay? It's every chance. The first thing I read when prepping this stuff was the rules. And then I spent a lot of time reading through the adventure and prepping maps and character sheets. So
There.
it's been a little while. Also, like the quick start version of the rules is not.
It's a simpler form.
Although I will say,
Makes sense.
I do have the Call of Cthulhu rulebook on my shelf, and forgot about that until I walked to my office today. And I'm like, oh yeah, I have that book because I did that ad for that bookstore that one time.
So it's the first time. It's gonna be anytime you do something the first time, it's gonna be
exactly.
You know.
I think I like the Call of Cthulhu setup, and like, admittedly, I like the simplicity in Delta Green of like, if you have a penalty, it's minus 20%. If you have a bonus, it's plus 20%. Or 40, however much the handler decides. But I don't hate the penalty or bonus die system either. I think it's confusing to explain, but once you understand it, it makes sense. It's like rolling with advantage.
I was gonna say I didn't mind rolling the extra dice. Honestly, it was kind of more clickety sounds.
Yep.
I think the process of explaining it is difficult, and like there are just gonna be some people that are just gonna struggle to understand that. And like, if I were there in person, I know I could help better, but I can't. You know, I want to like lean over and be like, all right, we're gonna take these 2 die, you see these, and we're gonna roll these, and we're gonna take this result.
With the 2 numbers.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
I feel like, you know, it's not bad, but like that's the most confusing part of it. Okay, we sort of did an in-between talk. Maybe we should just talk about Call of Cthulhu proper.
Too many flashbacks.
Too many flashbacks. Absolutely. I don't know. I just really like it.
I liked it a lot too.
No, genuinely, I really liked this system tonight.
Yeah, I really liked this one. I also like how much like stuff, like how many documents and things. Like that was really
Their
cool.
handout game is so strong.
Yeah, very strong.
Delta Green has some good handouts too, but like I think Call of Cthulhu like prides itself on quality handouts, and they look real. And it's also my understanding that you know, sometimes we have these sprawling adventures that take place in you know, I mean, it's all like real settings for the most part, and they will really do a lot of research to try and like be accurate. The campaign I'm listening to, they went to New York in the 20s, and they were meeting up with like their African American buddy that they met on an expedition. And like they were so specific to like even the hotel that their buddy would have stayed at the time, because it was one of the few like nice hotels that would offer rooms to African American people,
Mm-hmm.
and they like there's a whole section where they had to delve into this stuff happening in Harlem, and they like when they wrote that they really did their research and it was really intriguing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And the handouts, so good. Just looking at the quick starts. Well, actually, we didn't even run the quick start for Call of Cthulhu. We ran a different adventure.
Mm-hmm.
But in looking at the documents and stuff, I glanced at the quick start and it's very similar. I think the quality and the depth of information they give me, the GM, is greater in Call of Cthulhu. Delta Green, it's a little bit more bare bones, and I think some of that is because they want the handler to fill in like the city, and they want you to place it wherever you want. But because of that, I have to do a little bit more work.
Yeah.
Which is a little frustrating. And in Delta Green, sometimes it's a little less clear, like what I need to. How do I explain this? In both Pathfinder and D&D, when you are running an adventure, there's like the box that's like, this is what I read to the players. And then there's like, this is the information that the DM knows, We've all run stuff at this point. You've got stuff that you're supposed to read, and then the stuff that you just know and you keep to yourself, and maybe they uncover some of it as they go. I will say, in these systems, they don't necessarily define that. There's no like, here's the special box that you read to the players, and then here's the stuff that you know. They don't really define that, so I have to just sort of parse out the information in the descriptions and decide what to withhold until you look into it more.
Interesting.
Yeah, which I don't love, but Call of Cthulhu, it was more clear in reading the descriptions what I should read to you and what I should withhold, whereas Delta Green was less clear, in my opinion.
A lot more beginner friendly when you're figuring out the system.
Yeah. And I could glance at the quick start and see if it's any better there. I feel like it was relatively similar, but
okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I like it. I definitely want to do more. I want to do more in all of them, to be honest. I thought they were all fun. And there are definitely some kind of like mini adventures that probably take more than one session, but not like a full-fledged campaign that we could probably do in either. That would be really, really fun, I think. What other systems would we want to potentially explore, though? We talked about some of this before the game.
Right. Well, I'd really like to try. It would have to be a week where we don't have everyone, but I would like to try Fiasco. I feel like that could be really fun. I know that you can purchase an online version that would probably be what we would need to purchase for us purposes. But it seemed very interesting when it was described. I think it could be fun. I also I was planning on maybe going out and just going to my LGS and purchasing the Daggerheart stuff, and maybe that could be like not this fall, but maybe in the spring, like on our off week, maybe I could just every month run a Daggerheart something.
Not to throw this out, but my birthday lands on a Sunday, I think, this year. So that could be fun.
I would want to do more than just for your birthday.
Yes, you should. You should. But yeah, that would be fun.
But I could definitely target to make one of those happen on your birthday. But that way, like, all of these one-shot systems, you still ran it, which, thank you. You know how insane my ball is. I literally can't even think right now. But, like, the spring should clear up a little bit for me, maybe.
I don't believe it at all.
We'll see. But like I can do some prep over winter break when I do have time to be ready for sure. You know. And I think that could be really fun and get me back into DMing a little bit as well.
Daggerheart, I definitely want to try that out. I've heard so many good things about it, so like It's only a matter of time before we give it a shot.
Yeah. So I think I'm probably gonna go out and buy it kind of soon and see what it's like.
Absolutely.
What we can maybe do.
I know I mentioned before our game tonight, Vampire the Masquerade would be cool for like a Halloween one-shot. I admittedly know nothing about that system other than like the vibes, and I know that vampires are involved. But
yeah, I haven't heard of that one, but that sounds dope.
Yeah. It's one of the other ones that I feel like I hear about more often than some of the other systems.
For the Queen?
Yeah, For the Queen.
Oh yes, I've heard that's good.
Which is fun. There's a system called Pendragon, and I think it's also by Chaosium. I think it's by the same people that do Call of Cthulhu. And you're like
Arthurian?
Knights of the Round Table. I want to check that out. Arthur. I think Glass Cannon ran a Pendragon game, so I might watch that at some point. But and Benji mentioned a few others, I think, as well.
I don't remember what they were.
Either.
We like our Star Trek adventures.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, like, I feel like we'll have to work our way around to Star Wars. Someday.
There is a whole Star Wars RPG.
There is. I've played it. There's also a Starfinder. So like Pathfinder, there's also Starfinder, which is like sci-fi.
I know there's also like a Percy Jackson RPG.
Yes,
system.
Yeah. I've seen. There's like
because I've played
bare
that
bones
as well.
Of that.
There is.
I would be interested in
once the Avatar.
Yes,
system.
the Avatar one was fun.
And I would be interested in us playing Glitter Hearts.
Right, where you're like a magical girl.
The magic girl one.
That's fun.
That would be fun.
You know what would also be chaotic but probably fun? What was that like Trash Panda one that Sam Riegel ran at one time?
Trash Pandas?
I forget exactly what it's called.
I think it was called Trash Pandas.
Is it called Trash Pandas?
But you're like raccoons that race, potentially. I'm not sure. It looked fun,
but it sounds hilarious.
It is called Trash Pandas. Goofy RPG about raccoons on a heist.
Incredible.
20 to 30 minutes.
Heck yeah.
4 players exactly.
Heck yeah.
4
so
players
that would
exactly.
Okay.
Well, we have those days.
Yeah.
Correct.
We have those days. That happens. That would be funny. Low stakes are fun.
And we could play like a couple games in our normal like 2-hour session, you know?
Right. For sure. I will have to, like, you know, I will say, when we got into D&D, I feel like I was of the mindset, this is the system that I play, and I don't need to play the other systems. This is the system I play. But, like, honestly, after the OGL stuff, and, like, reading into Pathfinder, and slowly getting exposed to other systems, I'm like, there's a bigger world out there. You know? And it's not as hard to learn a new system as I think, like, we feel
I thought it was
like
going to be a lot more intimidating.
Yeah, and like, I think as long as you just don't overwhelm yourself too much. I mean, obviously whoever's running the game has to sit down and read all the shit, because that's just, like, that's the life of whoever's running the game. You know, but as the player, like, at least when you're just getting into it, you don't have to know everything at the start. It's the same with, like, when we got into D&D. We don't have to know everything at the start. There's still stuff we don't know and have to, like, look up and figure out, and that's fine. You just pause, and you figure it out, and then you continue.
Yeah. Well, and as with anything, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So, like, the more you play in other systems, the better you get at thinking on the fly and, you know, being someone who is able to be flexible in that way in a new system. So,
and on top of that, like, I think it also helps a lot to, like, watch other people play those games as well. Like, before we even, like, played D&D, like, I started watching Critical Role, and, like, got to a point where, like, I felt somewhat familiar. Like, when a skill check was coming up, I'm like, oh, this skill is sort of like they have to move really quickly. I bet he's gonna call for a dex roll. And then Matt calls for a dex roll, and I'm like, yeah, I got it right. I kind of know how that system works. And yeah, like watching other people play helps a lot. At least if you're like a very like visual person, that can be a big help. Watching and listening to people play this Call of Cthulhu game that I like to watch. Time for Chaos is the name of that podcast specifically. That's been a big help for sure. Yeah. So, audience, play other games and don't be scared by them. And these 3 that we played: Zombie Road RPG by Dragon Mount Press, Delta Green by Arc Dream Publishing, and Call of Cthulhu by Chaosium are very great places to start. I feel like that's good. It's a good talk.
It's a good talk.
All right.
The 3 girls.
The 3 girls. 3 amigos, musketeers, etc. 3 little maids from school. 3 little maids from school, are we?
My brain went